Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 545 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. As always, we have some comments already. First one goes to Oriana, who says hello, and then goes on to say, my pick for Peaceful Perfume, how did you know we were going to be doing that, would include L'Eau d'Hiver for sure. That's a very, very good one. It's not going to be on today's list, but maybe another one from that brand. Alex is here as well, saying hello to everyone from Graz. Scent of the day is Encens Roi by Histoire de Parfum, and a top 10, how delightful. And Perfumed by the Sea is here too, saying evening scent of the day is Le Cahier Secret by Jouissance. Think I prefer this to La Bague d'Eau. That is a brand I've exchanged a few messages with the founder of the brand, and I need to get her. I need to get her on this channel for an interview. Ula is here as well, saying hi friends, love me some Percy top 10. Exciting. Okay, we need to get on because we've got 10 plus 1 perfumes to get through. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. And if you subscribe, you may want to click on the little bell so that you get notifications about new videos. Leave a comment, ask a question at any time. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below, and also a link to my Substack. Suddenly, loads of comments have exploded. Okay, what's going on? Shan says, hi Mr. P, catching a live after ages. Hello, how are you doing? Woozy says, speaking of spring, I saw Amouage were releasing a Lily of the Valley. Now that's something I'm keen to try. I think you should check it out. But it's definitely Lily of the Valley plus. Mo says, tuning in from Berlin. You're very, very welcome. Frag Chaitown says, greetings all, nice theme. So I'm guessing it worked then, did it? Maria says, L'Eau d'Hiver today. Second mention of that. Angeline says, hello Mr. P, and all nice flowers and nice shirt. And Lord Charles says, wearing cuir de Russie. Okay, the flowers are an indication that it's time for one of our seasonal lists, because before the next weekend comes round, we will have properly gone into spring. I forget which way round it is. I think we're in meteorological spring, but we're not in astronomical spring. I think it must be that way round, right? Astronomical spring is always the start of the solar new year, the Persian new year. And I don't know exactly when it's happening, but it's usually round about the 21st of March. So 20th, 21st of March will be the start of spring, which means it is time for us to do one of our top 10 lists. So I have got for you, let me just adjust things here a little bit. 10 perfumes that I'm recommending for spring, plus one, a sneaky one. Regular viewers will know that I always try to come up with a sort of loose theme, partly to help me put the list together and have a focus in my head, but partly to, I suppose, to just make it a little bit more interesting. And the theme for spring 2025 is perfumes that somehow convey a sense of peace or peacefulness and harmony. Goodness knows we need anything that conveys as much of a sense of those qualities as possible in the world at the moment. That's the kind of thing that's been on my mind, and so that's what we're going with. And I suppose the way that because I'm looking at the perfumes here, I suppose what I've gone for is perfumes that somehow manage to balance a range of disparate elements. They don't necessarily have to be quiet. Certainly the one that we're going to start with is not particularly quiet, but I suppose they do tend towards things that come across as a little bit more serene and a little bit more subtle. But certainly that doesn't apply to every single one of them. That's not exclusive to those. And what I would say, Gavin says, I feel this theme is very lush. You're being cheeky again, right, Gavin? Eric says, feeling zestful in Diorella extrait. Today I have an essay to write and you will be in my background for some of the writing. Are you going to tell us what the essay's on? Good luck with it, Eric. Alex says, Kalesh is always calming me. Okay. And I thought it might be interesting as well, if you're up for this, as we're going through, if some of you shared some stories of where it is that you feel most at peace, and also maybe why it is that you feel most at peace in this particular place. Or maybe it was a particular time, maybe it was the company of a particular person. Obviously only share anything that you're happy for the entire world to see, but if there is anything there that you feel you could share appropriately, please do. I was thinking about what I would have said if I'd been asked that question, and I mean, there are lots and lots of situations where I feel perfectly at peace, but I'll tell you the first one that came to mind, and it's actually on a summer holiday with my better half, with Madame Persolaise. We tend to go on road trip type holidays, long road trips, and I thought that actually one of the times when I most feel at peace is when we're both in the car, we have a destination, you know, programmed into the sat-nav, but we could change it if we wanted to. We could stop wherever we wanted to. And even though we're on busy roads and we're going at speed, there is something very, very liberating about, paradoxically, about just being in this confined space and having to get to a certain place. You know that there's nothing else you can do, so you put on some music, or you talk, or you put on an interesting podcast, and somehow that is very freeing. There is something very, very peaceful about an open road, even if it is a very, very busy road. So that would be it for me, but if any other ideas come to mind, I will share them with you. Laurie says, always peaceful when backpacking up in the mountains. That's a good one. So more of those sorts of ideas, please. And if I manage to catch them, I will read them out. Bozok says, hi Mr. P, a belated Ask Me Anything question for you. Did you like Scorsese's 2016 film Silence? I will very, very quickly say, yes, I did. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really, really impressive, really interesting, and very, very brave the way he put it together, because it's one of his least showy films, I think, in many ways. I thought it was beautiful. And the book, if you haven't read the book, I would recommend it. A fascinating book. We need to move on. Okay. So the one that we're going to start with definitely doesn't fall into the category of the quiet ones. It is a perfume that asserts its presence quite clearly, but it absolutely 100% falls into the category of harmony and things being harmonious. And it's actually the first one that came to mind when I came up with the theme. From 2009, composed by Marc-Antoine Corticchiato, who has done all of the perfumes for this brand, because it is his brand, we have got Trois Fleurs, or Three Flowers. I remember being so impressed with this the first time I smelt it. It is the epitome of harmony in many ways, because when you smell it, you get, in just this gorgeous balance, you get jasmine, you get rose, and you get tuberose. And he is a very, very talented perfumer. He is a very, very skilled perfumer. But even knowing that doesn't make it any less remarkable how beautifully he's managed to balance all three elements. They are three of perfumery's biggest florals, the real heavy hitters. But the fact that they're able to exist in harmony with each other and to bring out each other's most interesting facets. So you've got the gentleness of the rose, the kind of indolic, slightly carnal quality of the jasmine, the more intoxicating kind of creaminess of the tuberose. It's just the most harmonious, the most beautiful blend. I think when I did a video where I sort of did a showcase of the brand, I talked about this one reminding me a lot of Vintage Paris from Yves Saint Laurent, the scent composed by Sophia Groisman. And even smelling it now, I get a lot of that, because I suppose as it goes, if there is one flower that dominates, it is the rose, but the other two are there right towards the end, all the way through to the end, I think. And the interplay with the musks, it's a very, very beautifully skin-centric scent as well. I actually, this morning, sprayed some on the back of my hand and just kept having to sniff the back of my hand, because it sort of really kept me company wonderfully for several hours. and the very fact that it balances these elements, I think, makes it a perfect olfactory expression of the idea of peacefulness and harmony. It just proves that three seemingly clashing powers can actually exist alongside each other quite happily, and achieve a really, really beautiful, striking harmony. What's that? Offenlicht says, Amouage's meander really manages to calm me down. Okay, interesting. The green notes are somehow soothing. Thanks for that. 12 Pretty Things says, hello Darius, Happy Nowruz. Thank you very much. Same to you if you celebrated. I always refer to a website called Seven Scene to see the, oh, that's the Haft Scene, isn't it? Okay, makes sense. To see the exact time of the equinox. It has a countdown at the top. Thank you very much. Maudlin says, hello everyone. Silver Moon says, I love vintage Paris. Ula says, okay, we've got a story here. I hope I'm going to have a chance to read a lot of these, so do share, please. Ula says, I feel most at peace when I'm in my dad's home village with his huge, merry family while being surrounded by beautiful forests and lakes. What a wonderful image. The simplicity of this whole picture is where the beauty lies. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Katia says, talking about skin scent, have you tried Ropion's Sur tes lèvres from d'Orsay? It could be of a similar... No, I don't think I have tried that one. Dushan says, Dear Man is my peaceful scent, and Oriana agrees about Meander. Thomas says, my favourite calming scent is Lutens' Encens et Lavande. One of my favourites. Wonderful. Thanks for that story, Ula. That's a really, really special story. Okay, let's move on. Number 2 brings us right bang up to date. Regular viewers will know that I do my very, very, very best to ensure that all of the scents that I present in these top 10s are ones that are currently available, so we try to stay away from discontinued perfumes as much as possible, and I also try and mix things up as much as possible and bring some newer things into the canon, if we can dare to call it that. And this is brand new. This has only been out for a few weeks, but I'm really, really taken with it, and I've enjoyed wearing it. So from 2025, it's the new addition to Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria range, and it's their Rosa Verde, composed by Delphine Jelk. I think I need to just find out from a truly authoritative source how we pronounce her name. This is, again, a really, really great example of harmony and of things not being overdone and just working very, very beautifully and very simply together. It's cucumber and rose and a pear-like, apple-like note and musks, and that's kind of it. And they put a smile on your face. They're suitably dewy and aqueous and floral and juicy and petally and green, obviously, because it's Verde, but not over green. This is not a kind of galbanum-y green. It's more of a sort of leafy green, and it's what the Aqua Allegorias, I would say, should be. Thomas says the best Aqua Allegoria since Neroli Vetiver. I think I would be inclined to agree. I mean, I was quite taken with Neroli Vetiver, but I was really, really taken with the harvest version of that, as you know. And I still regret not buying a backup bottle. I actually saw one, I think at a Sephora in Italy. Could have been France. I think it was Italy. And I was tempted, but I thought, oh, you know, I'll be able to keep my bottle going for ages. And I mean, I suppose some people will complain that it starts veering into the territory of shampoo musks a little bit, but it's the simplicity of it that I appreciate, the harmony. It really, really doesn't try too hard at all, unlike some of the other Aqua Allegorias. Silver Moon says, I got a mini of this and it is very spring appropriate. Thank you. I think we have another story from the length of the comments. So I'm going to read it. Perfumed by the Sea says, my favourite calming scent is Eli from Trudon. Pretty sure I smelt it, but I can't call it to mind now. My calm place is in our communal gardens where I live. Ah, gosh, you must all get on very, very well with, or you must have a lot of respect for each other's space if a communal garden is peaceful. We have a few benches in the gardens surrounding my apartment. I sit there with the squirrels. That's wonderful. nature. I wonder if we're going to have nature as a running theme. Wasn't there a news report just very, very recently that showed, apparently there's some research to prove something that people have known for centuries and centuries and donkey's years, that nature has a healing effect on people. I think they found that people who are in a hospital room, even if they've got a view of just one tree, apparently their recovery and healing time is faster than people who don't have a view of anything natural or nature-based at all, which is interesting. Marie-Claude says, is the cucumber obvious or just there to give an aquatic feel? I think I would say more to give an aquatic feel. I mean, it's not a cucumber perfume. It's more the sort of rose pear, made dewy, made aqueous. Ula says, somebody talking about, Dushan says, I feel the same in my cottage high in the mountains. Ah, okay. I must say, I think the peacefulness of mountains I find very appealing about, because quite often they also tend to be silent, and yeah, I suppose there is something intrinsically peaceful about silence. Scott Giles says, my favourite is the original Eau de Guerlain. I love that one too. My mother's main perfume for years. This one is very good as well, though. Gavin says, it's what Hannibal Lecter wanted. What was that, a cottage in the mountains? Yes, I think you're right. Well... Xavi says, my calm place is a timeless place not bound by any season, although each season coats this place with a new vibe. My calm place is a library, sniffing books and getting engrossed in novels. See, I think I would probably, or a bookshop, like a really, really huge bookshop. Okay, keep them coming. Number 3, I think I saw somebody predicting actually that this one might be... a window with a view, says Gavin. Yeah, yes, that is what Lecter wanted. Yes, you're right. Yes. Well, he was a tortured soul. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to look at a tree, and then he would have been healed. From 2023. I didn't think it was that old. Yeah, a couple of years old. From 2023, composed by Fabrice Pellegrin from Diptyque, one of my favourite Diptyques of recent years. This is their L'Eau Papier, or paper perfume. Do I say that I think this is underrated? I think I probably should say that it's underrated, because it doesn't seem to have generated as much discussion amongst the people that I talk perfume with, which is a bit of a shame. Knew this would be here, says Ralph. Love this one. Ah, well done. Silver Moon, I have just seen your comment. I'm not going to read it out, but I don't disagree. And Offenlich says the Tsutaya bookstore in Daikanyama, Tokyo is really beautiful, peaceful, yet alive, especially in the evening hours. I don't think I managed to go to that one. I remember a huge stationery store. It may have been in Ginza, but I could be wrong. It's like 7 or 8 or 9 story stationery store. It was beautiful. Dushan, that's very, very kind. Thank you. Fresh perfumes are a lovely thing. Welcome here, you sunny spring. P.S. A message for my Serbian friends. Is that? I have no idea what that means, but okay, I'll let it go. Ula says, love L'Eau Papier. So many friends got this one after smelling it on me. So what do we smell when we smell L'Eau Papier? We get something quite hard to describe. It's an interesting perfume. There's a kind of roasted nutty note at the top, maybe sesame. There's something very, very quietly woody, cedary, gently dosed musks. But yes, overall, there is something that conveys the kind of dry, parched, almost starchy feel of a very, very beautiful, very, very textured sheet of paper. And I love it. I love the fact that it lasts and lasts and lasts without ever shouting. There's something very haunting about it. And it does feel like it's radiating peacefulness and harmony, and all of the elements are very kind of meticulously blended together. Xavi says, very complex, Diptyque-like, definitely. Oriana's sharing a story. The beach at the end of the day. Oh, when it's already a bit cold and most people have gone home, just sitting down, hearing the waves while the water just nestling, brushing my feet. Yes. Isn't there also actually, you're saying it started getting a bit cold, but isn't there also something extraordinarily peaceful about a beach in the night? And isn't it just, I don't know what it is, maybe it's some primal thing of being at one with nature, but having like a sort of midnight picnic on a beach, it's just amazing. There's nothing else like it, where you know the water's there because you can hear it, you can't quite see it, but if the moon's there sort of peeping out from behind the clouds, then you see its light reflected in the waves every now and then. That's a good one. That's a good one, Oriana. Thank you very much. Frag Titan says, I haven't tried this one yet, the Diptyque, and it so sounds like my taste. You should try it. Aaron says, what is that white rocket looking thing behind you? I explained this in a few videos ago. This is a model of the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and it's here because it was made just for me by one of the younger members of the family, so I thought it needs, pride of place here for a while, because I was very, very grateful to be presented by it. It's a very, very nicely done model, I think. So yeah, that's what it is. It's a model of the Burj Al Arab. More Violette says, I arrived late. Never mind, you're very welcome. But I'm happy I made it. I've been wondering when we might see spring perfumes. I'm excited about the theme. Things are extremely chaotic in my part of the world, so I could use peace. Yeah, and I think maybe not just your part of the world. Chaos seems to be where some people want to kind of get us, because then, I don't know, it means that all we can focus on is the chaos. I don't know. Angeline says, Le Papier was my Friday's scent of the day. Very calming indeed. It's a bit of your scent, but better. Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, next on the list, this brand has already mentioned, but I don't think that this particular scent has been mentioned. This is from last year, from 2024, composed by Christopher Sheldrake. Again, I was really taken with this one. From Serge Lutens, this is Point du Jour. As far as I know, still not available in the UK. I managed to pick this up last time I was in France, or one of the more recent times I was in France. Oh, Natasha says, my favourite spring scent is still Ostara. I know, the much missed Ostara. Such a shame. That was a really, really good Penhaligon's, in case anybody's wondering. Really wonderful Bertrand Duchaufour composition. So, here we go. Point du Jour, or Daybreak. Gavin says, I don't think you've reviewed this before. I don't know, come back to me on that one, or check the index on Persolaise.com. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I'm sure I have mentioned it. Sarah, I've just seen your question. Have you got to try the new Sentir Saint-Celier exclusive? No, I haven't. I should, though. Anyway, Point du Jour. This is meant to be the Daybreak in Provence. And so it's a lot of eucalyptus, a lot of thyme, very, very herbal, very sunny, hot, but not too hot because the day has only just started. You can hear the twigs crackling underfoot as you walk through a kind of forested, mountainous area. Maybe there's some sort of like dried eucalyptus leaves under your feet as well, and as you walk over them, the oils release their smell into the air. Again, really quite simple, but beautifully blended. And I guess you could interpret the idea of daybreak as in some ways being the most peaceful part of the day, or it should be the most peaceful part of the day, because that's when everything is full of promise, and you've got so many choices to make about where you take the day and how you choose to interpret what happens to you during the day, and how you choose to interpret how others interact with you. It's again underrated, I think. One of the better ones from the sort of light, watery range that Lutens has done. Maria, let's have a story. My village in Crete has some 11th century wells nestled among pine and plane trees. Gosh, wow. They're stunning and peaceful, and I love sitting there. The perfume I wore last time was Jardin à Citer. So, as somebody who knows Crete, and maybe you're Greek, I don't know, but doesn't matter whether you're Greek or not, would you say that Hermes is a good evocation of something Greek? Dry Martini says, cooking and gardening, the world around you fades away. I'd agree about the cooking. I mean, gardening is something that I kind of do sometimes because I have to. I'm not a natural gardener. But cooking, absolutely. As long as you're not pressured and not having to like cook for 15 people and make 12 different dishes all to be ready bang on the dot of a certain time. Alex says, at night in my garden with the wind in the trees and sense of wet earth and night flowering plants in the air. That's a good one. That's a nice one as well. And I like that idea of the sense of wet earth. There's something very, very grounding, peaceful about that as well. Milad says, good evening from Athens. Scent of the day is Purpose by Amouage. I do like that one. Have you tried Purpose 50 yet? If not, you ought to. Tethys says, Weekend in Normandy by Nicolai is a wonderfully relaxed scent for early spring. I don't know if I ever tried that one. I remember the Weekend à Deauville, which I seem to remember enjoying. Angeline says, a couple of peaceful scents for me are Jour d'Hermès, Cologne Blanche and La Peau Nue, all quiet but just interesting enough. And I have just, it slipped my mind, Angeline. Peau Nue, who's that by? Which brand is that? I can't remember just at the moment. Okay, we need to get a move on because we're nearly at the half-hour mark and we've only done 4. So what's next one going to be? Next on the list from 2003, not a million miles away from the Lutens actually, but this is a perfume that I take away with us every single summer holiday, and I have done for years and years and years. Not actually even so much to wear, but sometimes just to spray where we're staying and to just smell it, although I do wear it sometimes as well. From 2003, composed by Jacques Cavalier, it's the white tea scent from Bulgari, or Parfumee au thé blanc. Lots of very, very difficult for me French vowels in that perfume name, so apologies. Of course, this range was famously started with the green tea scent, composed by Jean-Claude Ellena. But this is the white, and I do like the green one as well, but I've got a soft spot for the white one. I've got a soft spot for the black one as well, because I think that's a really, really interesting oud-y cologne, but not appropriate for today. Dave NYC says, I've always loved thé vert. Yeah, me too, but we're doing white today. Silver Moon says, I took my board exams yesterday and needed something peaceful. I hope they went well. I opted for Rimbaud and it was perfect for the occasion. And Angeline says, Celine, yes, of course. And so is the Rimbaud, right? The green tea is also beautiful. Jardin à Citer, back to that one, says Maria, is a hot day in Crete in a bottle. I wear it in the UK when I miss my Greek island. So for you it works, clearly. Ula says, have you tried the blue one? Beautiful iris lavender shiso scent. I wear it to bed and it's gorgeous. Yes, I remember back in the day trying it. I'm pretty sure I reviewed it. The white one is a kind of tea scent. I mean, I actually very, very, very rarely find tea notes convincingly tea-like in perfumery. But it sort of doesn't matter because I like the kind of abstraction of this one. It's faintly jasmine-y, it's faintly flowery, as in the flower that you might find in the larder. It's faintly kind of powdery, maybe a bit rose-like, maybe a bit woody. And I guess it's that kind of rosy jasmine-y feel that makes you think, okay, so perhaps it could be like a sort of very, 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 very delicate jasmine tea, like are they called jasmine tears that you put into water and they actually sort of unfurl, that kind of tea. Dave NYC says, I feel like most of these were discontinued, or am I wrong? I thought this was very much still around. I'll have to check. Apologies if it is, but I thought it was absolutely still around. Silver Moon says, I passed with flying colours. You already know. Brilliant. I thought you'd have to wait ages. Well, congratulations. Well done. Amazing. Thé vert is definitely still around, says Omar. Alex says, in the hotel we're staying here in Gran Canaria, there's a combination of night jasmine, lemon tree and orange tree with so fragrant orange flower smelling spring in the air. What a description. What a beautiful description. Umberto says, Thé Noir, the black one, is astonishing for me in spring nights. Shame it's discontinued. I didn't know that's gone. That really is a shame. That was a good oud for one thing. A really, really interesting take on oud. Oriana says, feels like something one would smell in a really nice hotel spa. Yes, if you mean this one, absolutely. It's just very, very zen. absolutely isn't trying too hard, isn't shouting at all, and yet somehow does carry something distinctive about it. Very, very difficult to describe scent, for me anyway. Okay, we've done 5, which is a good moment for me to say that you're watching episode 545, I think, of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. We're doing one of our seasonal top 10s, top 10 perfumes for spring 2025, scents that somehow project a sense of peace, peacefulness, harmony. And we're going to do our kind of +1, and it's a +1 because it's a limited edition. It's from a brand that always does limited editions. I haven't had a chance to get to know it all that well, but my first impression of it was very, very positive, so I thought I'll just give it a shout out. It's from the brand Ffern, Ffern with 2 Fs. Please search for my Ffern video to find out how they operate, because I don't want to kind of get into the mechanics of how these things work. You know, you have to sign up to be on their ledger. But here is spring 2025. All of their perfumes are seasonal. This one is also by Elodie Durand, and I think Ffern perfumes are just sort of getting better. They do tend to go towards the same sort of dry down. They're all natural perfumes, and so I guess to some extent that's inevitable. But this one is, it's a kind of minty, grassy, rose-focused floral. But very, very nicely done. You always get, if you get the perfume from Ffern, you get a kind of artwork that goes with it. So there you go. And I should also find out who the artwork is by. I suppose this is their representation of spring 2025. Does that look peaceful and harmonious to you? That is an artwork by Lizzie Riches. It says here, our Ffern artist for spring 25 is portrait artist Lizzie Riches. A Londoner by birth, she grew up near the ancient oaks of Epping Forest, which gave her an enduring love for the natural world. Her other passion for Elizabethan portraiture began aged 5 when she visited Audley End House in East Anglia. Lizzie's painting for spring 25 is simply called Violet, an enigmatic figure clothed in flowers, gazing out from amid springtime trees. The bird is a Jenny Wren and the butterfly a meadow brown. And actually violet, yeah, because there was definitely a kind of violet inflection here as well. Just very, very quickly to let you know, they say that this contains lemon rind, eucalyptus, peppermint, bergamot, violet leaf, rose, a jonquil daffodil. Isn't that? I thought all jonquils. I don't know. Maybe there was such a thing as a jonquil daffodil. Ylang ylang, lavender, jasmine, vetiver, orris, and red cedar. I think it's very attractive, and it doesn't have that kind of slightly dense, overly sticky quality of some all-natural perfumes. I love violet scents, says Magdalene. This isn't a kind of violet heavy scent. To me, it is much more about the freshness of the eucalyptus and the mint with the rose, but you do get a sort of hint of violet in there as well. Okay, let's get on with our actual list. So next on the list I have, I haven't got the full bottle of this one. This is another one that brings us bang up to date. Now this, again, absolutely not a quiet one. I reviewed it very, very recently, but I'm really, really taken with this, so I wanted to stick it on this list. It's the latest from Neela Vermeire Creations. It's their Eshal, composed by Bertrand Duchaufour. I tried it at the Exence exhibition in Milan just a few weeks ago, and it's one of their best, I think. Oriana says, if L'Eau d'Hiver or En Passant is not here, I'm cancelling my subscription. I mean, I love those, but I kind of wanted to do... Will you not cancel if I tell you that there is a Frederic Malle? Please don't cancel your subscription. You can kind of have... You can have En Passant. I mean, I've talked about En Passant and L'Eau d'Hiver so much. I wanted to do a different Frederic Malle. Where is the Malle coming up? I think it's towards the end of the broadcast. Sorry, Oriana. Please don't hate me. Anyway. So, Eshal... It's a tuberose, I suppose, essentially. But this time Neela and Bertrand Duchaufour have decided to make a very, very green, fresh, optimistic, tuberose. And what makes this really interesting, which is where the kind of the balance, the harmony, the juxtaposition comes in. Oriana, maybe. Does that mean you won't cancel? Anyway, the juxtaposition with turmeric is what makes this really, really fascinating. And I suppose this one is probably one of the more energetic ones on the list, but you can have a kind of energetic peacefulness. Again, sometimes when I feel most at peace, this doesn't happen very, very often, but when I decide to kind of get my posterior in gear and go for a run, there is something very, very peaceful about that as well. Maybe I find movement peaceful. I don't know. I'm not very good at being still, except maybe on a beach where I have not taken my phone with me and all I have is a book. That's okay. Although there is something very, very active about reading as well. But yeah, anyway, we're all a mass of contradictions, aren't we? Sometimes it's about movement, sometimes it's about stillness. But I really, really like Eshal. Very, very, very complex. And yet, maybe not quite as Baroque as things like Traillis. I mean, I love Traillis. It's still my favourite Neela Vermeire. This has the complexity, but it's also got a kind of lightness of touch, which I think makes it appropriate for this list. So there we go. Do try it. I don't know if samples are available yet from the people who stock Neela Vermeire or from her own website, but please do try it. Classic Sagittarius, says Ula. What, contradictions? Is that right? I don't know much about astrology, but I mean, I'm told that in many ways I'm very, very Sagittarius, but also that in many ways I'm very Scorpio. And then people sort of, whenever I say that, people go, oh, really? So make of that what you will. Any more stories? Sandra says, met Bertrand Duchaufour last week. Wow. And he told me that his favourite from the brand were Traillis and Eshal. Interesting. I'm kind of not surprised to read that. Angeline says, I'm very curious about the Flora Danica range, Danish brand, as they have a beautiful botanical aesthetic. I've never heard of them. No. And Angela says, what's the name of this again? I went too fast. Sorry, it's Eshal. If you come back to the video, usually within a day of doing the broadcast, I list all of the perfumes in the video description below, and I try to do timestamp as well. But it's Eshal. The Neela Vermeire is Eshal. Eshal. Tripty is giving us a story and says, years back I lived in Delhi, a buzz with noise and heat. Yeah, I absolutely can vouch for that. I'd walk to a nearby medieval ruin overlooking a lake and sit in the shade of the ruins, waiting for dusk when birds returned home to the trees. Ooh. And was it quiet? Was it? There's something oddly peaceful about the chaos of India as well. Because, of course, I suppose if a place is really, really crowded, you can kind of get lost in the crowd as well, can't you? And the anonymity that comes with that can be quite peaceful. I think that's one of the reasons why I love London, because even though it's ridiculously crowded, you can also just blend in and nobody knows who you are until somebody comes along and says, oh, are you Persolaise? Which doesn't happen all that often. By the way, I'm always happy when that happens. It's wonderful when that happens. I didn't want that to be a way of my saying, please don't come and say hello to me. Okay, we've done the Neela Vermeire. Let's go to one from 2015. Not a brand we talk about a lot. From 2015, this is composed by Céline Barrel. And from Aesop, it's Tacit. My favourite from Aesop is still their Marrakesh Intense. Not maybe particularly apt for this list. But this is an interesting one too. Céline Barrel has done their latest one, which I'm still not entirely sure about. I don't know whether I think it's a little bit of a misfire, a little bit of a weak release, but never mind. But Tacit is interesting. Alex, Ice Cream in London, yes, still needs to happen. Tacit, Gavin says, oh, Kate Bush's A Sky of Honey has brought me a lot of peace. Is that the first one or the second? Or did they both have, which one was the, because didn't they have two different names in that double album? I can't remember. But yes, that was a very kind of peaceful album, I seem to remember. Haven't tried this one, says Power Connection. Interesting to hear about it. This is, I guess, green. a sort of herbal, grassy green. But a little bit like the Serge Lutens, a little bit like the Bulgari. Not all that easy to describe. You get something pine-like in here, something lemony, maybe something cedary, woody. Tacit is a good name for it, because like some of these ones here, like Papier, it's present, but it's very, very subtle, very quiet. And there's something generous about that. It does feel like a gesture of generosity. Very, very harmonious. You don't necessarily pick one material out. I mean, maybe the herbs are the things that pop out a bit more. Rosemary, perhaps eucalyptus. But nicely done. Not one that I wear often enough. I don't think I should wear it more often. Okay. Frag Chaitan says, Angélique sous la pluie is my current go-to when I need to wear a reassuring scent. That's a very, very popular one. Tripty, that's very, very kind. You didn't need to do that, but thank you very much. I'm really hoping to smell Eshal. Thank you for your wonderful reviews, Mr. P. Your top 10s spread the peace and the beauty. Well, I hope so. Maybe in just some, and spread a few laughs. Tripty, that's very, very kind. A lot of green and white on the list, says Omar. Yes, I suppose I'm in that kind of a sort of mood, that kind of a sort of frame of mind for spring 2025. I thought maybe we should go green and white, I suppose. Oriana says, Oris Tattoo is also a personal favourite for Serenity from Parle-moi de Parfum. Yeah, that's a good one. Gichunk says, Cierge de Lune from Aedes de Venustus is so calming and beautiful by Fabrice Pellegrin. I don't think I've tried that one. They've gone off my radar, Aedes. Which is a shame, because I love some of their stuff from back in the day. I mean, their Iris Nazarena, I think, is one of the best iris scents ever. Like the video, says Omar. Yes, please. If you do like the video, then please like the video. What have we got next? Okay, another quiet one. Whiteness is referenced in the name of this one. This is from 2022, from a really, really interesting brand that so far has only 3 perfumes. It's a perfumer-founded brand. The perfumer is Isabelle Larignon, and this is her Milky Dragon. Can you see that there? Fascinating scent. You kind of think you've worked it out and you think you know what it's doing, and then it suddenly starts shoving exotic fruits under your noses. Let me spray it here, and then I'll read some of the latest comments. More Violette says, the most peaceful place for me is where the hills of looming fragrant redwood trees meet the reedy wetlands that spill out to the sea. Beautiful sentence, by the way. Look at all of you writers. Misty mornings bring out the sweet citrus scent of the redwoods. That's beautiful, because it's a very olfactory place of peace for you as well. Ian says, happy to catch a live stream for the first time in a while. You're very, very welcome. I see Après L'Ondée has already been addressed. See, to me, Après L'Ondée is a bit too sad to be peaceful. I mean, to me, Après L'Ondée is like tragic emotions. I mean, it's beautiful, but it doesn't bring me peace necessarily. Anyway, Milky Dragon from Isabelle Larignon. It is kind of milky, creamy, but I guess the dragon comes in through a sort of woody note, and as I say, suddenly you're thinking, am I smelling guavas? Am I smelling mangoes? But nothing is allowed to dominate. And if I did know what the concept behind Milky Dragon was, I've forgotten, but in a way, never mind, because is the idea that there's something powerful but presented or manifested in a more innocent way. I mean, milk is one of the most sort of innocent of substances. The dragon is one of the most fierce of mythical creatures. Putting the two together means, do you have a kind of peaceful ferocity or a ferocious peacefulness? It's interesting. Oriana says peace does look and feel different to each and everyone. Yes, absolutely. More Violette says, I'm still trying to find a perfume with a true redwood needle note. Ooh, I can't help you with that one, sorry. Sandra says, I find Le Flocon de Johann K more peaceful. That's the other one from this brand. Yeah, and I did nearly go for that one, but that's got very, very strong wintry associations for me. So I thought, okay, let's do maybe the fruitiness, the kind of slightly floral aspect of this one makes it a bit more spring-like. Wagstaff says, belated hello from LA. Who knew dragons were fruity mammals? Well, there you go. In perfumery, they can be. Right, we have got 2 to go, so that means you need to get your stories in here if you're going to be sharing any. Now we get to the Frederic Malle. Oriana, please don't unsubscribe. Because I have talked about En Passant and L'Eau d'Hiver a lot, seriously a lot, I thought let's kind of widen the net a little bit. And this is from 2014, composed by the one and only Carlos Benaim. It's Eau de Magnolia or Magnolia. And somebody mentioned Diorella at the beginning of this broadcast, and I thought, how appropriate. Because, of course, Diorella was one of the key points of inspiration for Eau de Magnolia. Why we don't talk about this one enough, and also I was shocked when I saw that it was released in 2014. I thought, goodness me, I mean, it's more than 10 years old. It feels like it was only yesterday that I reviewed it on the blog. It's got that kind of citrus, aqueous, floral, slightly kind of bulbous floral feel to it, like Diorella. And if I have ever smelt a truly fragrant magnolia, then I can't remember, so I can't vouch for how magnolia-like it is, but it's certainly a kind of gentle, creamy, kind of lactonic sort of floral. It's not jasmine, it's not rose, it's not tuberose, it's not sweet pea, it's not ylang-ylang. It does seem to be its own thing. And it's got that kind of slightly 1970s retro quality, but absolutely not overplayed at all. Eric says this one is my favourite Frederic Malle. Interesting. And the other Eric says, I enjoy Eau de Magnolia, but I was disappointed after reading about how it was inspired by those fresh 70s Chypre. Why were you disappointed? Well, because you didn't think that it did a good job of representing them. Gavin says, this is Chanel pour Monsieur with florals added to me. I emptied a bottle of this in no time. Well, because yes, I suppose that's a kind of bright Chypre as well. So, yeah, that's a spot-on description, I would say. You're absolutely right. I hadn't made that connection before, but it's a really, really nicely done modern Chypre. Ian says magnolias have a beautiful lemony scent, but I'm right that not all are fragrant, right? I think I'm right in saying that. I mean, most of the ones I've smelled haven't had any perfume. Tool says magnolia smells like rose to me, but with a chamomile back note to it. Interesting. Par Connection one says, I find it uplifting, love the touch of orange zest, and do love the retro feel to it. I wish Magnolia cooperated with my chemistry, says Laurie. Okay. That's a shame. And Exabi says, the atomizer is also the reason why bottles run dry so fast. They spray quite a lot of juice. Well, yes, I suppose some do spray more than others. Gavin says, the scent of Magnolia is so weird and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh, always. Ooh. And Alex says, Magnolia grandiflora, the evergreen one, is unbelievably scented. Okay, maybe that's the one that I haven't tried. Because, yeah, the most of the ones that you get in the UK are not evergreen, are they? In fact, they're definitely not, because now is the time when we're starting to see all the leaves are back on the magnolias, and... Or maybe I've just completely made that up. No, they're not evergreen. Most of the ones aren't evergreen. I definitely see a lot of bare magnolia trees. Okay, so Scents and Gems says, at peace in the forest or the bathtub, listening to a meditation, and yes, in the car with my darling. Absolutely. Ula says, my recent comfort scent is also Myrrhe Églantine by Hermès. It reminds me of squishing rose petals in my hands as a child. Slightly off rose scent, and I love how aware I am of it when wearing it. And Eric says, I remember inviting you to Texas to smell the magnolia. One day I need to cross the Atlantic. I've never even been to the States, which is a bit shameful, but one day it'll happen. Okay, finally on this list, we get to the last one, and these are not in any particular order, by the way. Okay, they're not in sort of order of this isn't the best one or the worst one. They're not in any order. From 2023, from Eliam Puente's brand. Puente, this is his Eden, or maybe I should do that so that you can see the name. I nearly went for his Virescence, which is also beautiful, but maybe the fact that that is a bit more stridently green, and this one is a bit more floral and a bit more harmonious and a bit more sort of balanced is the one that, you know, maybe that's why I went for Eden. I mean, this one has a kind of green note to it as well, but there's a lot more going on here. There's that kind of retro chypre quality that Eliam Puente loves. There's a rosiness, there's a grassy greenness, there's a very, very marked kind of citrus note at the top as an evocation of the Garden of Eden, if that is what it's meant to be. It's interesting because you do get a kind of fruity orchard feel to it as well. This one does feel like delving into a very kind of lush, hyper-coloured world. And I've not thought this before when I've smelt it, but smelling it now is making me think of Beyond Paradise and how that also did feel like stepping into a hyper-saturated, in terms of colour, world. You know, I loved the fact that the original bottle for Beyond Paradise had rainbow hues to it, because that is what that perfume smelt like to me. And Eden is actually giving the same sort of quality, but there's also something earthy about it, feels quite grounded. Really nicely done. Well, one of the good ones from Puente. I love Eden, says Power Connection, and City Slacker says, I will wear Eden tomorrow. Pat Lester says, I can't wait to wear my Italian perfumes in the spring. Lorenzo Villaresi comes to mind. Which one? Which particular one? How about an unsettling scents top 10, says Oriana. I think that would be interesting. I think that would be an interesting one to do. Or Gavin saying chaotic. I mean, yeah, I like that idea. Something a bit different, or chaotic, disturbing, unsettling, that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. Isn't life unsettling enough, Oriana? Well, says Alex, we can have fun with it. Okay. Alex says, I have bought a bottle of Puente Iris Doux. I love it. I want to try the new Iris and Oud combo. Did I know there was one? If I did, I've forgotten. Is that really bad if I've forgotten? I think I have forgotten. Sarah says, Hermès's Muguet Porcelain is so spring. Absolutely agree, but last time I checked, that's not available anymore. I mean, I think that was a beautiful one. I would have included it on this list probably if I thought it was still around. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to social media for details of new videos coming your way. Whatever you choose to wear this spring when it comes, I hope that your spring and beyond, that all of your days are as peaceful and harmonious and as serene as possible. Goodness knows we need to spread a little bit more peacefulness around. Thank you very much for watching. Be good, and I will see you soon. Bye now.